Hey there, Michael from Let's Travel Radio. We're back, and today we're going to be talking about spices. I've got some real people who know spices best. To my right, I've got Dale Lee Buckheiser. He's with, well, Northern Belle. That's a restaurant in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. They do so many interesting things. I'm so pleased to have him. He's a pitmaster, by the way. Knows his way around barbecue country. Going to tell us something about it. So, Dale, thanks for coming. I've been to your place, and I love it. Nice to have you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Then I've got Robert Zahadis. He's a world traveler and a connoisseur of fine food products from all over the world, but he knows products in the Middle East. His famous store, Zahadis, is a Brooklyn landmark. In 1986, he and his brothers expanded their operation for greater capacity because the products were so diverse and popular. And then, of course, they introduced mail order. And, well, you've got to visit. They're in Brooklyn, New York, in Brooklyn Heights, actually, a place called Atlantic Avenue. I've been there. Robert is now involved in all aspects of the company's business, including importing, exporting, distribution, advertising, promotion. What else? I don't know, but you're going to hear from him. Laura Lev Sarkars is a chef, a master blender, and owner of Les Boîtes. That's a favorite spice shop in New York. His book, The Art of Blending, provides an index of his 40-plus spice blends with recipes and tips from today's best-known chefs and cooks like Daniel Boulud, Eric Rippert, Gail Simmons, Apollinaire Poulain. And he's been featured on the New York Times magazine section, Vogue, InStyle, Food and Wine, Saveur. He's been on with Rachel Ray. What else? I don't know, but he's going to tell you about it. So, Laura, thank you for coming. I'm so pleased to have you.
Thank you for having me.
And, well, from Grenada, the Spice Island, I've got Christine Noel Horsford. She's the Director USA for Grenada. They celebrate food and passion for living, music, tour, and travel. She, along with Consul General Rosemary Welch, are located right here in New York City. For more on that, well, you got to hear it from Christine. She'll tell you. Anyway, so nice to have you all.
Thank you.
And I know it's long in the day, but spices are so interesting. I mean, during the Middle Ages, well, they wars are fought over spices. And some people can't live without them. Restaurants, it's a must-have. And of course, so many things have happened in the Middle Ages with spices. Well, you heard the spice wars. Yeah, they fought over spices. You bet. Why? Medicinal purposes. Gourmet cooks and chefs required them. Kings and queens demanded them. What's going on? And why have spices become so popular? Bobby, tell us about your famous, legendary store in Brooklyn Heights, New York. What's happened in the last 50 years?
Well, we've been on Atlantic Avenue for 68 years.
68?
Yeah, it's been
Who
a
are your
long-
best customers there?
Well, it went from a pretty ethnic group to now a much more American group. Some of them are first generation, second generation. Many of them are just the way Brooklyn has exploded.
Oh,
So many different groups of people are now moving in, and they're sort of discovering us. And you're seeing is that the dynamics, your customer group is completely changed now.
did you introduce spices to their culture, or did they know of spices from?
It's a little combination of both. I mean, we started out as mostly a Middle Eastern place, so we had a lot of cumin and coriander and allspice and things there. And people come in and they start asking for other things that we've sold for many years, such as the za'atar spice, which has been a Middle Eastern staple for centuries. The Americans have just discovered in the last 15, 20 years, maybe even closer than that. And things that the customer that would never come in and ask for such things now have discovered many of these Middle Eastern spices that have been in existence for many, many years. It's a good marriage, the two cultures.
Are they learning to cook with them, or how do they do that? I mean, are the spices out of the jar or off the shelf, or can they prepare fancy dishes, or how do they do that?
Well, some of them are meant for more simple things. Some of them are meant for more complicated things. We have different blends of spice also, which we also do in house. Which we make a mixed spice, which we call a Syrian mixed spice. We do a mixed spice, a Lebanese one.
Mm-hmm.
We have a Yemeni mixed spice. We have a Moroccan spice. I mean, we do all of these different country spices, and people are just very interested in trying different blends, different spices. They're back to wanting to explore in the kitchen.
Are some of them specially made for their purpose or their taste? Does someone come into your store and say, "Hey, can you do this? Can you change this? I want to try something different."
It's not so much changing, but some people they may want an Ethiopian spice, so
Mm.
we'll explore into it. And we'll figure out how to best match up an Ethiopian blend on spices,
Mm-hmm.
just like we have with Yemen, just like we have with others. We're basically centered in Lebanese and Syrian, which is where our background is.
So Lebanon, Syria, Ethiopia, Morocco. Who else?
Yemen,
Hmm.
Tunisia.
Egyptian. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we have
Well, yeah.
it's and some of them are over me like something like the za'atar. It's a blend, so every country, every area makes it a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of like curry powder. If you buy it in 10 different places, you're going to get 10 different mixes.
So your store is the source for Middle Eastern spices or special products from the Middle East?
Well, there's a wide variety of special products in the Middle East. Years ago, it was you couldn't find them as readily. Now, just like years ago when I was a kid, you couldn't find what was called Syrian bread, what is now called pita bread.
Uh-huh.
You couldn't find that all over. There weren't bakeries all over the country. There were bakeries in the big hot spots, New York, Chicago, and they would ship the bread and it would come in frozen to other places.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, they've sprouted, they've opened up, people have discovered the food, and people have opened stores all over.
Mm.
So we also have a wholesale business, and we ship out of state to a lot of
So
stores.
you have a large mail order.
Well,
business,
it's
yeah?
become a wholesale, but we do mail
Is it
order
growing
again
now?
now. Years ago, we did retail mail order.
Mm-hmm.
Then we concentrated on wholesale mail order. Nowadays, with the internet and stuff, we've gone back, and the next generation coming in and taking over, we've gone back into doing retail mail order again.
I remember being in your store over the holidays and so many magnificent products like dates and figs, huge dates and huge figs. Those are holiday specials, no?
They're all year round, but they're always fourth quarter is always the biggest season. I mean, we bring in our own figs from Turkey. We import 3 or 4,
That's another
5
country.
containers of figs
Uh-huh.
that we do directly, so we're a direct importer on that. And dates we generally source from California, although you can get them out of the Middle East, you can get them out of Israel. There are plenty of other places to get it. Generally, we deal in California. We deal with the Majul date, which is the king of the
Mhm.
dates, which again, years ago, I mean, now the Muslim population has gotten much larger. It's a huge item for Ramadan,
Mm-hmm.
which means it
Ah.
doesn't necessarily have to be in the fourth quarter. It can
Uh-huh.
be throughout the year.
So you are here. Do you supply some of the embassies in New York? Just curious.
We've done some catering things there, but we don't
Yeah.
really supply them. We've done some catering things for the embassies.
And if one goes into your store, can one stand up, or is there a little table that can one have a little sample, like a taste?
There's a deli. There are no tables and chairs, but if you want to try something, they'll be happy to let you try something in the deli if if people want to know what they're going to pick up. So that's it's easy enough. There's a full service deli there, and a bakery, which is something new that we added.
Tell us about
a
that
few
because
years
I've had a taste of your famous spinach pie. You do that, yeah?
We do it. We never did the store up until 1985. Basically had none of that. In 1985, my niece and my sister-in-law decided we should go into cheese and prepared foods, and so we added an entire section for cheeses and prepared foods.
Mhm.
Of course, your basics, your hummus and your baba ganoush, your tabbouleh, kibbe, regular Middle Eastern things. But since it's expanded,
Mhm.
there are always some chickens available. There are always some Italian dishes available. There's always a mixture. It's heavier on Middle East than it is on anything else. Grape leaves are made with meat, without meat, stuffed grape leaves, stuffed cabbage, things
Uh-huh.
like that. And then we do some catering also,
Mhm.
and it's become a very integral part of the store.
Can you still find those huge burlap bags? When I was a kid, we grew up in a neighborhood, had these huge burlap bags where you could take a metal fork and sort of spoon
Scoop.
out. Yeah.
Metal scoop.
Is that still
the,
done?
The problem with that is it's not really it's sort of frowned upon by the FDA and the agriculture. The groups that come in and inspect you, it's very hard to keep a place as clean as they would like it if you're dealing in all those bags and stuff. So eventually we've had to put things in plastic bins and jars and stuff. They come in the bags. I mean, they still come in them, but to leave them out and exposed like that is not always the best practice for keeping your merchandise fresh and clean.
So you break them down.
We
and-
break them down. We
Yeah.
put the stock in another place. You seal them up so that they stay good and fresh. And it's just become quite difficult to. You've got to be practical. Besides everything.
Another thing I noticed, the Middle East has a wonderful the sampling of oils, olive oils, and different kinds of oils. I assume that your store has a variety of different type of oils.
We have a variety of different type. We import olive oil from Lebanon. We bring in a few containers a year of Lebanese olive oil. We also sell oils from Greece, from Italy, from Spain, from Morocco. I don't know where I'm forgetting, but
other than olive oil, you have other.
well, I mean, other than olive oil, we sell almond oil, walnut oil. I mean, all the nut
that's it.
oils,
That's it.
sunflower oil, safflower oil,
Oh.
peanut oil. I mean, all the other type of oils besides that.
So for a gourmet cook.
Yeah, I mean, then you have the flavored oils: basil flavored olive oil, orange flavored olive oil, lemon. I mean, a variety of flavored oils. Also, canola oil, blends of different oils.
All right, I got that. What's the? You have a website? You know the website?
Now you're asking me hard
Well,
questions.
I could look it up, but that's okay.
You're going to have to
I'm
look it
gonna
up
do
because
that for you.
I don't belong
That's
in the
okay.
computer age.
But spices is bedrock in your store. It's what you
Spice-
want spices from the Middle East, all those countries you mentioned.
It's become a staple of the store. We have a million other things, but spices is a
Mm.
part that people sometimes just come in and head right towards.
Wow. Now, Laura, I've got Laura here. Laura lives in Cars, is Chef Master Blender in Owner Lovelock. It's a big store in New York, and he's got a celebrity clientele. But he's been on so many talk shows. He's been in magazines and newspapers. What does your customer look for when he comes in? You have a different type of customer perhaps than his. Maybe...
Yes and no. I mean, similar. I retired from professional cooking after 20 years and decided to devote myself to reviving the world of spice trading,
Mm-hmm.
from the farmer to the end consumer, the cook at home or in a restaurant, and focus on both sides, both the professionals that we work with, the chefs, the bartenders, the chocolate makers, the beer brewers, and the home cooks. And the idea is fairly simple. We want people to know about spices, and we want people to use spices. And my approach initially and until today was to create blends, primarily blends, that have no specific purpose. I grew up cooking with my dear mom, who's still cooking very well, but the challenge was that she had rubs or blends that says chicken seasoning, meat seasoning, fish. And I asked her as a teenager, I said, Mom, can we use the fish blend for soup? And she said, I don't think so, because it says fish on the jar. And now that I'm past my 40s and she's 11 hours away from here with an airplane, I could do what I want. And I realized that if we made blends and we don't give them a specific purpose or usage, and we invite our clients, again, whether professionals or home cooks, to experiment with them and not to change the way they cook. If they master roast chicken, so be it. Let them cook roast chicken 7 nights a week, but make it different every time. And by that, expanding their horizons, because, I was born and I grew up in Israel. I am never going to become an Indian cook. I am not from India. So I gave up on that idea, yet I still love the flavors of India. So I cook my own cuisine that's heavily inspired by the Middle East, because that's where I'm from. And I give it little flares and touches. One day it's Indian, one day it's Mexican, one day it's Korean. It's not Korean, Indian, or Moroccan food. It's my food done differently every time. And that really helped the people that we work with, again, to expand their horizon. And again, at the end of the day, just have fun. Cooking to me equals fun.
It's fun, yeah.
And if you're having fun, you're healthy, you're living better, and you're learning. There's a whole cultural aspect that comes with it. and which is secondary but comes with time. So
Mm.
this is what we're doing, and really allowing people to expand their horizons and not to be intimidated. The word spices intimidates a lot of people because there are two words in the dictionary, so I'm told. One says spice and one says heat. They're not the same. So by saying spicy, you don't mean hot.
Mm.
And everybody can use spices. Everybody does use spices, even if somebody tells you that they're not. They are. The word lying is a bit extreme, but they probably have salt and pepper at home.
Yeah.
Those are spices.
Mm.
So if you have those, you are using spices. My hope is that you at least make the point of having good salt and good pepper.
Mm.
You don't have to have 20 or 30, just buy the basics one, but make a point that you go and visit Bobby at his store and buy great salt and great pepper and educate yourself. Maybe you like one pepper over the other. Maybe you prefer a certain salt over the other.
I learned that there are several different types of salt and lots of different types of pepper.
There
Is
are
that
endless amounts, and until you try, you don't know. And I find it a bit absurd that most people season their food with spices they have never tasted.
Mm.
They just add it because that's what the recipe says. Add salt and pepper, which I'm totally against. It should say season with sodium and heat. You pick the sodium and you pick the heat. If you like hot sauce, so be it. And if you like seaweed, let that be your sodium.
Mm.
If you like capers, you like anchovies, go for
Mm.
it. Be in charge, take control. You are eating it, you're putting it into your body. It's important that you educate yourself.
Your book, The Art of Blending, do you talk about how to use spices? Do you educate the public?
The first book, The Art of Blending, was devoted to, back then, only the 41 blends that existed. Today there's over 100, luckily and sadly, depending on what day you ask me,
Mm-hmm.
because I have to produce them. It's really devoted to these blends and how to use them at home, and some tips and quick ideas of what to do with them. The upcoming book, November 1st, it's called The Spice Companion, is a book that's dedicated to 102 spices that I think everybody should know about. I teach people on how to buy, store, and mainly blend. If you want to blend your own blends, I am opening up my whole, knowledge. I give away 102 spice blends, recipes in the book.
Mm.
There are botanical illustrations of the plants, their origin, the history, a real educational, I hope, book that's going to get people even more excited about
Mm.
spices.
When is that coming out?
November 1st,
The name again?
The Spice Companion.
All right. Now, these other famous restaurateurs that you hang out with. Oh, my God. Daniel
Because this is
Boulud,
what I
Eric
do, yeah.
Ripper, Gail Simmons, Apollonia. Do they come in the shop?
Some of them do. For some of them I worked. I worked for Daniel Boulud for nearly 6 years, and he's a great friend and a mentor. Other chefs that we work with have become friends over the year. What we offer is a home for them.
Mm.
We listen, and whatever they want to do, we try to do. And if they're working on a certain dish or a certain cocktail or a new chocolate or dessert, we will customize a blend for them
Wow.
for their specific needs, and they like it because they could get the best product. I think more and more of them see it in a way that they would like to source the best possible products. So they want the best butcher and the best fishmonger, and luckily spices have finally taken their right place in the kitchen, where they want to turn to a great source to
Mhm.
source great products.
So you're invited into restaurants and
I
into a
am.
kitchen?
It's a horrible thing
I
when
mean-
somebody come and
I mean,
can you
hey.
come and have a drink or have dinner?
I mean, hey, you walk into the kitchen and a chef says, you got something up your sleeve, maybe something new I can try.
All
I'm
the time.
doing a dish here.
All the time, and it's a great thing because it keeps me alert and always looking for different. Nothing is new. When people ask what's new, it's nothing is new. It's been growing for hundreds or maybe thousands. It's new to me, new to you, but we go out there, or we have people out, in the Far East or the Middle East, constantly looking for new ingredients. and we love showcasing them, and we like to talk about the farmers who grow them and where they come from and all of that. So that's very exciting.
Wow, I'm impressed. So if I came into your shop and I said to you, Laura, I want to try something different. I'm making lamb stew. What's new? What's more interesting? You got a compelling spice for me. Can you create one?
Well, we don't do customized blend for retail consumers, which is not 100% true. We have a product that's called a bespoke spice blend,
Uh-huh.
where we allow a regular consumer, which is not a professional, to create his own spice blend. It's a process that takes about 3 months to 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Comes with a serious price tag on it, and they basically get their own recipe with an unlimited amount of that spice, and my time and love and devotion.
Wow. You hear that, Charlie? Oh, Bobby?
Wonder what that price tag is. But
Yeah, there we go.
Sell
So
the house.
It's like making a
look-
deal with the devil.
let me just ask this here. I spoke to someone in the bartenders school here in New York City, and he was what they call a mixologist. And he said to me, more and more of the better restaurants are using spices in these exotic drinks. And it's never happened before like now. You're finding that? You're finding that your products are going into bars?
Oh yeah,
And
all the time, more and
restaurants?
more, and it makes total sense when you look at the spirits.
Mhm.
Most of them are made with botanicals and spices to begin with, so why not enhance that spirit or distill product with the same components?
Yeah.
We even went a step further, and today we work with distillers. So from the
You-
beginning,
with
we,
distilleries
with
directly?
distilleries or with brewers,
Ah,
to make beers and gins and bourbon with spices to begin with, and then we go to the bartender or the mixologist, however you want to,
wow.
and work with them on a blend that highlights a spice or spice blend, and so it's fascinating.
So you're hired by distilleries and breweries to...
Correct. There's a beer coming out in August.
You hear that,
Wow, nice.
Bobby? You hear that?
I gotta,
You know
I gotta
why?
get one of these
And
beers.
And I will tell you why,
But it's your
Bobby.
neighbors. It's Brooklyn Brewery.
I was
Ah.
about to say, Brooklyn has become a mainstay for hard liquor. They do, my
Bourbon.
God, they do
Gin, yeah.
vodka, they do rum, wine, of course, but beer. Their craft beers are coming out of Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I've never seen this before. Have you noticed that, Bobby?
Brooklyn's exploding in everything.
It
but
is.
There are more local products being made now. Everyone's popping up chocolates and
Mhm.
granolas and spreads, and
Mhm.
it's incredible. I mean, all the locally made, controlled stuff, high-end ingredients,
Mhm.
high price tags on most of them, but you know, you're supporting locals and you're getting products that you hope are better than.
Well, I think that has something to do with New York State. You know, there's an I Love New York State campaign, and there's a food portion to it. There's also something called Uncork New York. It's the governor's office. They support local breweries and winemakers and hard liquor producers. It's just amazing. And we have big schools here in New York State, like CIA, the Culinary Institute of America, the International Food and Wine Institute. We have several food museums. You work with those too, Laura?
Yes.
Wow.
We try.
We
you know.
got to get to know you better.
Yes.
Now, okay, so what's some of the favored spices? What's more popular? What are your customers buying?
I think the nice trend we are seeing is the fact that people want to eat more ethnic food. They travel, they come back, they
Mhm.
want to recreate that great experience they had overseas.
Mhm.
They read books, they understand that by eating Middle Eastern food, for instance, it's a
Mhm.
very healthy cuisine by
Mhm.
default. You know, it's vegetarian for the most part, some of it even vegan, if you will. Very simple, very seasoned. If you eat food that's seasoned properly, you consume less of it. So portion control
Mhm.
becomes very interesting. You allow to reduce sodium and sugar because
Mhm.
of the heat or the spice component.
You educate your consumers
We
in this
talk to
matter?
them all the time about that, about about how interesting it is, and it's part of also young chefs who for years decided that they're going to do something different than what they grew up eating at home, and all of a sudden I call it grandmother cooking. And if you don't have a grandmother these day and age and you have a restaurant, you better adopt one or make up a story, because that works. And I think it's fantastic that you can, you know, cook that food that you're proud of and your origins and heritage, and with that comes spices. And we are luckily a community in the United States that's built with so many ethnicities, and we all want to be proud of them and showcase them, and that's why all of a sudden spices are becoming more and more relevant.
Bobby, what do you think of that? Do you do some of that? Do you?
He's 100% right about
I mean,
that.
do you educate your customers on type of products, have the medicinal or health purposes, or?
Well, when they come in to buy, sure, sometimes there are selections on I mean, it's like if you want to buy a sesame oil, you can buy it raw sesame, you can buy it roasted sesame.
Mhm.
Tell people if you want more flavor, the roasted will have more flavor. If you want to buy it for health purposes, you take the raw. The raw is going to still have all the nutrients, everything in it. So it depends what you want when you make the purchase.
Mhm.
You know, are you looking for more healthy, or you're looking to put more flavor in it? You leave it up to them what they want. You just throw it out there.
Flavor is the name of the game, yeah? Partly or wholly.
No, I mean, I think more people go flavor, because I think when they want healthy, they think more health food store more than ethnic store. So I mean, I think the sales in a health food store will definitely be different than a sale in my type of store.
You know some of the restaurants that buy your products? You have an idea of who you?
Well, we deliver to them. We have a wholesale
some of the
operation, so we deliver to
major-
restaurants.
Middle Eastern or beyond that?
No, beyond that, but a lot of Middle Eastern in
Oh,
the
yeah?
city, we
They know
You know.
you well enough.
Yeah, I mean, we deliver regularly. I mean, so they want Middle Eastern, they want Lebanese olive oil because he's a Lebanese restaurant. So he'll source
You
us for
custom
the olive
blend
oil.
them, too?
No, we don't custom blend, but we do import the oil directly, and we get it from sources that we know are good sources that give you what you say.
Right.
There's a lot of playing around, let's
Right,
just say, in the
right,
field where,
Well, you have to deal with finicky chefs, you know. Hey,
but they
I
know
want
what's
this,
good
I
and they
want
know
that.
what's not good. They know what's real and what's not. And I mean, we've had people go out and selling oil for much less than I sell it for, and it's not what it's supposed to be.
Right.
So I mean, we provide a true product.
Lord, do you have a problem with restaurant chefs who are so demanding and put a lot of pressure on you to?
Not at all. As I said, I cooked for 20 years. I've been there, and I know
You
what
know
they
their
go
language.
through. And I promised myself that I would be there for them, you know. And when I say no, it's because it cannot be done. It's rare that it happens, and because of that, we have mutual respect. You know, they don't abuse of that, and they know that we work certain hours and deliveries are made with. It's important to state, you know, and draw the line somewhere. But on the other hand, what we can do, or we go even a step beyond. If we can send it with a messenger, we will, because they really need it.
They really need it, yeah.
And service starts in half an hour, and you know, it happens. Somebody forgot to place an order. If we could do it, we will do it. And if they only need a half pound, even though we don't, we will send it. Because the bigger picture is more important. They are our ambassadors.
Yeah.
They represent us every day in front of thousands of people.
Is that right,
It's a service
Bobby?
business. You gotta, where it's possible. But sometimes you get items that come from certain, like we've got Aleppo pepper, which comes from Syria,
Ah,
and people come in for it.
is that hard to get?
Well, there's no Aleppo anymore. Aleppo's
No,
what you
it's
read about
gone.
on the news that's getting. So what we've done is we've gone across the border into Turkey and worked with people in Turkey to produce as close an Aleppo pepper to what we can get from Syria. I mean, you basically either have that or you have nothing, because I don't know anybody that wants to go to Aleppo and try and
Not
find
right
it.
now.
Not right now, and not for the foreseeable future. So sometimes you have to, try and you got to
work.
deal with the hand you dealt, and you've
You
got to
got
go
it.
out and figure out what to do. And so now we've provided people with the item, but we've just had to source it from across the border in order to make it work.
Get this. Alaric the Visigoth held Rome under siege in the 5th century. For ransom, he got 3,000 pounds of peppercorn.
Good deal.
That
It's
was
a
a
bargain.
big
3,000
deal, yes.
pounds of peppercorns. I mean, nutmeg was another product. Nutmeg was used as a trade product in the 6th, 7th, and 8th century aggressively. They traded them for oxen. Get that. Now, I got to tell you this. I'm a chocoholic, and I've got Christine Noel here from the Grenada tourism department. That's the governor of Grenada, and she heads up the tourism division. Isn't cocoa one of your main products?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Can
Cocoa
you-
together with nutmeg. Well,
Yeah.
actually, we produce one of the finest cocoa in the world, and it's purely organic. You know,
Mhm.
everything is farm to table. So it's like the chocolate that's from Cadbury chocolate, the Belgian chocolates, and so we definitely produce one of the best chocolate in the world. And because of that, we're also having a chocolate festival next month. It's going to be from the 13th to the 22nd of May, and it's everything chocolate. They do a lot of the workshops, seminars, and they also tell you about the benefits of using the organic chocolate. So
Here or there?
in Grenada.
In
So it's
Grenada.
a really good time to go down for the entire family. They do a lot of seminars, they do cooking demonstration, they do a lot of menus infused with chocolate, they even do rum infused with chocolate, beer infused chocolate. So it's a really nice time to go down to the island.
You're a rum producer, the island is?
Yeah, we produce
Grenadian?
some of the finest rum too, and it's very lethal. It's over 180 proof.
Mm-hmm.
Most of it is
Ah.
locally consumed.
Ooh.
It's moonshine basically, but we have the oldest rum distillery in the Western Hemisphere.
Really?
Yeah, River and Twine and Estate, and they still operate the energy by a water wheel. So-
Marketed here to the U.S.?
Yes, that's one of our, what we call USP, that we really highlight that in our promotion and stuff. We
Hmm.
highlight that. Sure.
But the island is known as a mecca for tourism, and some of the most exotic destinations in the Caribbean are there, no?
Yeah, so it's a popular destination, I think, for the discerning traveler. People,
Discerning, right?
yes, who have done most of the larger island looking for something off the beaten track.
Uh-huh.
So they like Grenada, and when they do come, we get a very high repeat clientele.
Hmm.
You know, we don't have the large high-rise hotels. We have what you call more boutiques
Mhm.
type hotels. So your guests get a kind of personalized service, home away from home atmosphere. So, you're not referred to a tourist, you're referred to a guest.
Hmm.
So we really take care of our visitors.
You partner with the Grenadines, don't you?
Well, Grenada owns two of the Grenadine Islands, the two
Ah.
of Carriacou, which is the largest of the chain of Grenadine Islands, and Petit Martinique, which is different to French Martinique.
Ah.
So Carriacou is considered the gateway to the Grenadines. So they'll do a lot of sailors go up to Carriacou, and if they want to sail up to the Grenadines, they will start off in Carriacou in particular.
Are the Grenadines also noted for spice or production of spices?
The Grenadines, no. Well, not in Carriacou. Grenada, which is the mainland Grenada, that's where we produce some of this. We have over 20 different spices, but our most prized spice is the nutmeg,
Ah,
which we produce 1/3 of the world's supply of
is
nutmeg,
that right?
second to Indonesia. And we're known to have one of the finest quality of spices, the nutmeg, and also the #1 quality in terms of mace.
Ah.
I think it's because of the conditions in terms of where it's grown and stuff. So it's one of the best mace in the world, and also nutmeg.
Wow.
Yes,
I didn't
so
know.
it's.
Laura, did you know that?
Of course. I have to.
I've already spoken to him. We're gonna
Oh,
be
is that right?
collaborating here.
Bobby,
Definitely.
did you know that? That they were the
Nutmeg, I knew. Mace, I
was
didn't
the
know.
Yes.
number third largest producer?
Yeah,
you
second to
said?
Indonesia. Yes, yes. So we have. I mean, you're talking about the experience as you referred to. When visitors come to Grenada, the whole culinary experience, they refer to it a lot because we're known for really, fine cooking and dining, and not really hot spices, as you say, with my flavoring in terms of using the spices to flavor the cooking. So
Mm.
that's kind of unique for us.
But your cocoa, of course, makes the world's best chocolate.
Yes.
And is that the chocolate we find in stores throughout the United States?
Well, it's Whole Foods sell our cocoa.
Okay.
Yeah, we have two chocolate company, which is the Grenada Chocolate Factory and also Diamond Estate, and both of them, they're organically grown. And you could go to some of one of the cocoa plantation and get a kind a farm to table experience from that. So
Amazing.
it's well known for that actually.
Any cookbooks that
A
you
lot
know
of a lot of
that
local.
use those spices? Yes.
A lot of people, we have a British company, they also did a spice book in Grenada. A lot of the television shows, they've come down a lot and cover the spices in Grenada and the whole element and all the farmers and all the whole, the plantations and
Mhm.
stuff for the different spices.
So there is a plantation culture there,
Yes, of course.
and it exists. When's the best time to go there to discover all these wonderful spices?
Well, year-round is good. I mean, but I think what happens in terms of seasonality, your winter, that's where people try to get away and go down
Mhm.
and experience the lovely weather. So I would say January to mid-April, that's considered high season. Again, we have another high season around July, August, because a lot of Grenadians go back then
Oh,
to the carnival
okay.
and things like that.
Can you go direct? Is there a direct flight?
You can, no.
Really?
I mean, a lot of people still don't know, but we do. Recently had JetBlue last June. They started flying 4 times a week to
Non-stop?
Grenada, non-stop, and
Ooh.
that's Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. We also have American Airlines from Miami, and they go daily, and we have Delta from JFK, and Caribbean Airlines also via Trinidad.
Wow.
So we have lots of options to fly to Grenada. It's reachable now.
And when is that food fest you started to mention?
The Chocolate
Yeah,
Festival,
yeah.
that's May 13th to the 22nd.
By the way, do you have a website?
We do www.puregrenada.com.
All right,
Mhm.
very good. Well, you started to say something about some of the interesting spices and even sauces. My God, so I love sauces, and I've been to this great restaurant, Northern Belle, and I've got the pit master here, Dale Lee. He's been all over the lot. He's from the Midwest, but he's worked in the Carolinas and in Texas. He makes his own sauces. You kidding me? How many are there? I've been to your place, and I did see a whole bunch of glassine jars.
Well, I was trying to rattle them off the top of my head on my way here, and then I kept getting mixed up, and so I just started writing them down, and it looks like I have around 40 different sauces that I make all of them from scratch,
Wow.
in-house.
In-house.
Some of them take multiple weeks to sit around and, just
Yeah.
get all the flavors in there. Some of them I make, in a day. But I usually make them all at least once to twice a week. And about 30 of them are on a regular basis. And then I have like 10 other sauces that I'll bring back every so often for a special or to go along with wings or on a salad or something like that.
It's amazing.
But I only use spices other than, salt and pepper to,
Spice.
hit stuff with. I only use like dried spices in a few of my recipes because most of them are fresh produce that I bring in, like peppers and onions and things like that. But I guess one of the most important ones, being a pit master, I have to have a good barbecue sauce.
Sure.
And being from Kansas, I have to make a great Kansas City style barbecue sauce, which is going to be sweet with a bit of spice. And the base of my barbecue sauce is a 20 spice blend
Wow.
that changes seasonally depending on what people want. Like you were saying, fourth quarter, everyone wants nutmeg and cinnamon and pumpkin spice in the fall, and in the springtime I generally try and bring in more herbs. In the summertime I go a little fruitier, so I have like a core Memphis style dry rub that I learned how to make in Kansas actually, and then depending on the season I change about 5 or 6 spices in there on a rotation depending on how I want my rub to go. And then the rub is the base of my barbecue sauce, so the flavor of my sauce also changes year round as well, like subtly, but it's there. The changes are there.
Who buys these sauces? I mean, you have customers that
There's
pick and choose?
some people come in and buy it, in pints or quarts. A lot of times people just steal it from the table.
That's good.
Yeah, people I have to make barbecue sauce like huge, like 6-gallon batches of it once or twice a week, because people will just we have it in whiskey flasks on the table, and people just grab it, slip it in their bag or in their jacket, and walk off with it. I also make a table hot sauce, which is my hot sauce is the root of several of my sauces, with like my mild sauce and my whiskey buffalo sauce, and my hot sauce takes me 2 weeks to make
Wow.
because I let the peppers and everything age in vinegar to get it just right. So when people steal my table sauce and I run out, I'm just like, well, it's gonna be another 2 weeks till I have table sauce out there.
So nobody's got what you have. I mean, no one.
I mean, I
In the
don't
metro
use
area, you
I
can
don't
find-
use recipes from the internet. I make them all myself, and sometimes it takes me 2 or 3 tries to get it right. You can go to Buffalo Wild Wings and they have 50 some odd sauces, but a lot of that is going to be high fructose corn syrup with a lot of preserved things, and like I said, all of my stuff is fresh ingredients. I make it all myself, and I try and of course I have a low country mustard, which I make from scratch. I get the mustard seeds and soak them in vinegar and beer and other such things. And again, my mustard sauce takes me like a week or so to make to get it just right.
Wow.
There you can find low country mustard in other restaurants, but you won't be able to find my specific blend of it anywhere else except for at Northern Bell.
Nobody's got it. Have any of the big chains come after you?
I mean, a lot of people who come in are like, you should bottle this. You should bottle this. And
I
it's
said
like, hey,
that.
introduce me to someone who owns a
Yeah.
bottling factory, and I'll
Yeah.
start doing it.
So you sell the product, yeah?
Yeah, if people come in and want large portions of it, we sell it. We also just have a new catering menu that just came out,
Mhm.
and you can get any of our. We have premium sauces, and then we have our regular sauces.
Mhm.
The premium ones have usually booze in it, or special spices that are very expensive. Like I have a couple sauces that have black garlic in it,
Mm.
which is, if you've never had black garlic, it's
I never had
amazing.
it.
It's absolutely amazing.
Where does
Do
it
you
come?
deal with black garlic much?
Where does it
Yeah.
come from?
We do. Traditionally Korea, but nowadays produced local
I
US.
never saw it. Yeah. Is it popular in your store? I mean,
Popular is a big
do people
word.
ask for it?
No, because we don't use it in our dry blends because it still has some humidity to
Mhm.
it. So we only deal with dry components. But we do source this because a company that we work with happens to make it. So we have it, and some of our clients
Interesting.
want it, so we sell it. To
Well,
them.
there is a place called Little Korea here in New York City now. I guess that's a marketplace for it. Huh? Maybe. Yeah. So continue. Give us an idea of some of the more exotic. And how much would you pay for a high quality spice sauce?
For a pint of our barbecue, which is just like a standard sauce, it goes for 10,
Must be reasonable.
and 15 for a quart.
That's pretty reasonable.
And I may be off on that price. I have to check. Again, I'm not.
We're not gonna hold you to it.
I tell the owners how much it should cost, and then they're the ones who come up with the
Um,
price. So I think
pricing, yeah.
it's somewhere around. Oh yeah, it's 10 if you buy the whiskey flask. It's 8 if you just get it in
Mhm.
a plastic pint container. So that's
Or
why
bring
it's
your- or bring your own
15
glass.
for a quart. Or you could just eat at the restaurant and take it off the table. Like I'm not encouraging
Oh.
anyone to do that, but people
No.
it means they like my sauce.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like pay, you can walk out with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what
So I use booze in almost every recipe in my restaurant. Like I really like bourbon. I really like using
Brooklyn
tequila
bourbon?
and rum. I just use Bellows, which is like a standard
Yeah.
rail bourbon. But it all started last summer when Tullamore Dew did an event with us, and they're like, Dale, can you make a whiskey sauce?
Sure.
I was like, yeah, sure, I got this. And so I made this whiskey sauce, and then the moment people started eating it, they're like, this has to go on the menu.
Mm.
And like I make it myself, and I could do shots of it. Like it's that good to me.
Wow.
And so like that's kind of how like the whiskey sauce thing. I have a tequila sauce. I have a pina colada sauce with rum in it. I use beer in my low country mustard and my barbecue sauce. I have beer in my cheese sauce.
Mm.
Any chance I can get to use booze, I will use booze.
Mm-hmm.
I have a reduction that has oatmeal stout in it with molasses, honey, and maple syrup, and that's just like this really sticky sweet drizzle I put on several barbecue items. So yeah, cooking with alcohol is definitely one of my favorite things to do because if there's any left over, I get to drink it.
Nice
Good
one.
reasoning. Good
I like that.
So, do they come in to the restaurant because of the flavoring of the spices on the dishes
well,
you prepare?
I've had several people come up to me and be like, I know that these are just fries, but these are the best fries I've ever had, and it's because I have a special. I don't just put salt and pepper on it, or just salt like some places do, but I have a special spice blend that includes granulated garlic, cumin, a little bit of sugar, kosher salt, coarse ground pepper, and fine ground pepper, and white pepper. And it's like the perfect amount of each. Just sprinkle it on, and it makes just like a standard fry become, oh man, the best French fry I've ever had.
I'm coming to get some.
I've had some, and I would tell you, they are quite remarkable. So, how long have you been there?
Well, I've been there since we opened, and I took over the menu so we've been open for 2 years, and I took over the menu about 1.5 years ago. That's when I got like a nice big smoker, and I was able to do a lot more things on my own, and I took over the recipes, and I was just hired as a sous chef. And then through circumstance, I just happened to fall into the role of pitmaster and head chef. So now I'm kind of just,
Oh,
I basically just get to play around with recipes all day because, you know, I make my standard stuff and I teach my other guys how to make it. So when they're doing all that, then I get to be like, well, what can I do next? What's my next step? Recently, I've been brining chicken wings in beer, curing salts, and vinegar, and then smoking them, and so they come out looking like you know those big Renaissance Fair turkey legs with the tight red skin. They look like that, but they're tiny little chicken wings, and when you bite into them, it tastes like ham because of the curing salt. So like that's something I've been doing for the last month, just playing around with that. And actually, my standard wings are bestseller. I sell maybe 1,000 plus wings a week, and that is, you know, my Memphis inspired dry rub on the wings, and I smoke them, chill them, and then fry them, and so they're crispy on the outside but juicy on the inside because they're smoked. They don't get dried out. And I'll put my wings up against any wings in the city, any wings in any other state, and I'm confident that my wings will be the top.
wow, you are incredible. Laura, what do you think of that?
I'm
I
gonna
think it's
check it
amazing.
out.
Yeah, what are we doing here? We should go and get dinner.
Yes.
And you heard it on LTO radio, that's all.
Yeah,
Do you use any of Christine's chocolate bases from Grenada?
Well, I
Cocoa.
was actually talking to her
gonna
outside
connect.
earlier, and I was like, actually, I
Yes.
use coffee in my dry rub, which is a New York thing. Most other, like, there's only 2 places that use dry rub generally, and that's Memphis and Texas. Texas is very simple: cayenne pepper, black pepper, salt. Really simple. Memphis is the one where it gets kind of
Creative.
a little creative with it, but it, you know, since I moved here to New York, I'm like, well, I have this standard thing. Let's see what I can do. So I added coffee for color, and I added other spices for this and that.
Gonna
But
do
you know,
cocoa
adding cocoa
soon.
to it would probably not be
Not
a bad thing.
idea at all. We have to connect.
Turn him on,
Yes.
But
Christine.
I
will.
do make a mole sauce
Okay.
with I make my own chipotles in house. So I smoke poblanos in adobo spices, and I use those poblanos then to mix with Dutch dark chocolate and some other things to create a like spicy sweet mole sauce that I sometimes put on the chicken or on the pork tacos, or I'll toss chips in it and then bake them and make chilaquiles out of it. So.
Yeah. I'll get you some of the Grenada chocolate.
You
Have
got
the
to
best,
talk
right?
again.
Yes.
You may not know this, but we're all going over to your restaurant.
Yes,
All
we
right.
I
are.
mean, hey,
We are.
Bobby, what do you think? Is this
Well, I'm dying for the wings.
I mean,
Yes,
you,
I
the
The wings sound
you
fantastic.
got an open evening, you and I, and
Yeah, we
Laura,
all
and
gonna
then
go.
Christine.
Five
we
of
could-
us.
I'm going for
Yes.
sure.
I mean,
I'm
tell me
already-
what day you're going.
Yes.
Christine, leave
Yeah,
an
we're
open
gonna
calendar
make-
for
yeah,
me
I
and
mean-
Laura. I know you got a busy shop, but I want to be there.
Yeah.
Hey, we're all on the same email chain. Just let me know when you're coming
Yes,
in.
exactly.
Yeah,
I'll make sure I got something
I
special
will
for you.
come for 2, to be honest, with a group of
No,
friends. in the
I've been
industry will
there.
come,
I was
yes.
there. with the Foods and Wines of France.
Okay.
Or, you may know them. And we had about, I would say, 12, 15 people.
Hmm.
The desserts just threw me out. I mean, I never saw desserts like that. And in fact, a good buddy of mine who's he's a wine writer, and he's all over the place. He was taking them home with it. He was taking
That's one of them.
Shirt.
Did he take
Take the hot sauce, yeah.
Actually, after
caught
the
him.
event, I had all of my sauces in bottles arrayed, and I brought them out. And then when we were packing everything away, I was like,
They're gone.
where's
Yeah.
my? And I was missing at least like 5 or 6 bottles of my
Yeah.
sauce.
2 more weeks.
I caught him. So some of the big, you said you cater, some big events. I mean, I went to one, but
Well, we,
But they
my
discovered you.
packages are designed for 10 people minimum, and I'm not your typical barbecue restaurant. We don't have a counter where you walk up and
No.
you just slice the meat right in front of you. I wish, but that's just not the way we do things there. So we don't sell it by the pound, but we sell it by the person. And so our packages generally have like wings, 1 or 2 meats, a hot side, a cold side, salad, bread, things like that. Like I
nothing
make
is
my own
standard
corn.
there. Everything